So what started off as a disagreement over property and inheritance has now escalated into a major legal battle. We are talking about the late Sanjay Kapoor case. As the case that we are talking about is the will of the industrialist Sanjay Kapoor himself. When we speak of these new developments that are coming round in this case every now and then, he and his previous wife, Karisma Kapoor's children, Samaira and Kiaan Kapur, have now raised the matter to the court to take criminal action against his another wife, which is Priya Kapur. Now, according to the sources, the siblings believe that the will is not genuine, the will of the late industrialist. Now, according to top sources, they allege that the will was not executed in Gurugram, a claim that has been supported by the witnesses to the will. The children have described the document as an unambiguous forgery and have now cited offences under sections 338 and 340 of the BNS in this petition. Now, this saga seems to be now escalating to a level there as far as this serious allegation that has now been levelled, Dipankar. As far as the will of late industrialist Sanjay Kapoor is concerned, his children, who are also the legal heirs to the entire case, have raised serious action and are now seeking criminal action against their stepmother.
Well, yes, these are very scathing allegations that are being levelled by the children of Karisma Kapoor against Sanjay Kapoor, the wife of Sanjay Kapoor, Priya Kapur, in their submissions that they have made before the Delhi High Court, where they have said that the will actually was not signed in the Delhi in Gurugram, and they have also gone on to point out that neither Priya Kapur nor Sanjay Kapoor were present in Gurugram at that time when Priya Kapur allegedly claims that the will was signed at the office of AIPL in Gurugram. So these are very scathing allegations, and they have gone on to say that if these allegations are probed properly, if these allegations are probed, then it goes on to become an offence of forgery. And in such cases, when forgery is committed regarding wills or immovable property, the sentence is up to the life imprisonment. So they have also been claiming that if these allegations are probed, then a life sentence may be what Priya Kapur might face when if these allegations are investigated properly in a criminal in a criminal jurisdiction in this case. So these are very scathing allegations that are being levelled by the son and daughter of Karisma Kapoor, who have challenged the will over here and are seeking part of the estate of Sanjay Kapoor.
All right.
Meanwhile, the court is currently seized of the matter, and orders are reserved on an application that they have moved seeking injunction against Priya Kapur from alienating properties or acting on the will that is allegedly claimed to be the will of Sanjay Kapoor. So
right.
We will have to wait and now watch as to what these allegations come forth from the court. What observations does the court come to? What decision does the court take in this entire matter? We will have to wait and watch. And
well, if such charges are now being levelled, that already now leaves the case to a lot of extended complications as well. Mother Varuni and Priyanka are also joining us here on the broadcast. Mother, as far as the understanding from the court is now being suggested on part of the family there of Karisma Kapoor, the legal heirs, as far as the son and daughter of late Sanjay Kapoor is concerned, they are now believing that the will was not executed in Gurugram, and this is a claim that is supported by the witnesses to the will.
Well, this is exactly the argument that has been placed before the court. What the final decision is, of course, the courts will have to then adjudicate upon it. But one thing is very clear. The strategy clearly of the children of late Sanjay Kapoor is to raise questions about the authenticity and the digital trail that has been left behind as far as the will itself is concerned. And one of the aspects that they're looking at, not just, of course, as you rightly mentioned, of the two witnesses, but also, of course, issues pertaining to location, etc., that are now likely to be challenged in the court. Now, they are, of course, going to be taking this up as far as the court is concerned, because we know that whenever issues of details of the calls of the mobile logs, etc., are required, then they have to make a formal application in the court. It's after that the court will decide formally and then take it forward in terms of examining the relevant data surrounding this particular issue, whether it's to be taken up or not. But this very clearly is a strategy that is being employed by the children of late Sanjay Kapoor, where they are questioning the very authenticity and the basis on which this particular will has been a form. We have seen, for instance, the lawyers argue repeatedly that if Sanjay Kapoor intended to bequeath everything to his wife, he would register it. There is no registration, for instance. A sizable amount has been there, and why, of course, is there so much of secret surrounding the actual nature in which this will has been prepared and about the beneficiaries itself? What really is happening in this entire case and the manner in which things have come out? They have cited all the circumstances and have tried to build up their case. Now, going forward in terms of the digital trail, in terms of what kind of information and data they can gather, that will be very interesting to see how this case plays out in coming days.
All right. Priyank, what are the loopholes? We are told that there have been multiple loopholes, especially in a digital trail that is being presented in the court here as well, to what these questions are now being raised as far as the legal heir, the children of Karisma and Sanjay Kapoor.
Yes, certainly. This is certainly one of more factor which is adding more murky to that whether this will was signed by Sanjay Kapoor or not. Because remember the first CDI detail copy which was allegedly claimed by the Karisma Kapoor's side was on the notion that Priya Kapur was present there in the national capital. She was not there in Gurgaon, which had led to this massive controversy, because this is a case related to inheritance of the property of late Sanjay Kapoor, which is into 30,000 crores. So you can imagine the kind of amount which and the kind of worth which this Sona group has, because Sanjay Kapoor was a sole custodian of this particular property. But fact of the matter is that his mother had also claimed that proper rights were not given to the grandchildren, because she was the owner and the custodian of the land on which the Sona Group properties were made, and she claimed that her opinion was also not sought when the inheritance was given to itself Priya Sajdev Kapoor. That itself started the controversy, and now it has gone to the next level, where the children have also come up claiming that this particular location which has been mentioned of transfer of the property in the form of the will which happened in Gurgaon at the timing which has been mentioned in the transfer of the will of Sanjay Kapoor. At that particular time period, Priya Sajdev Kapoor, who's the wife of late Sanjay Kapoor, was present here in the national capital. So all these things will be contested. The CDI detail which has been claimed will also be verified by the court, because that appears to be from a private entity that has to be probed by a competent authority or any of the law enforcing authority. So what we can foresee that the court might ask any competent authority to probe this particular allegation, because the location can only be accessed by an ACP rank officer of that particular jurisdiction, who is capable, according to the High Court's order previously, what happened here in the national capital, that can only be probed by the competent authority. So what can happen in the next course of action, that the lawyers from Karisma Kapoor's children's side can seek a proper probe. That's why they have mentioned that these are the sections of the BNS under which the FIR could be filed, and if that happens, then things can be unearthed, that whether she was actually present here in the national capital or she was in Gurgaon, which has been claimed according to the papers.
All right. We have Abha Singh also joining in, noted lawyer here on the broadcast. Ms. Singh, what is your understanding of this entire issue? The complications are just growing by the day. There are several claims that have now been made, and the claims now of forgery and fabrication, unambiguous forgery of the will, that have now cited in several sections under the 338 and 340 of the BNS. What would it amount to?
One can really make it out that it is a battle which is being fought in the court by the respective lawyers. And when there is a provision under the law that you can challenge the will, I think that is what they have been guided by the legal team. And that is what Karisma is doing for the children, because they are minors. And under the Indian Succession Act 1925, the guardian can fight their battle to guard their interests. So this is the most easiest thing to do. Like now when the children are saying that the witnesses were not correct, they are fake, or he was not in Gurugram. So now it is for the lawyers, when the hearing takes place, they'll have to show evidence. You can put allegations, but then you have to be substantiated by evidence, so which I'm sure their lawyers will have to put forward. And if it falls flat, then it would be viewed adversely because you are putting very serious charges. 340 BNS is not something very light. There is
because this is a future of one of India's most high-profile corporate inheritances. Now that rests with the bench here, but for a better understanding for our viewers, what exactly it is all about, what's been fought in the court now, and what is when it comes to the counsel who are representing Karisma Kapoor's children there, now seeking criminal action. Now, what are they saying now? According to what we are learning through top sources, that the children say, Samaira and Kiaan, that the very much as far as the existence of this very will was something that was questioned before, but now they are saying that the very same will was not executed in Gurugram. Now, there are witnesses confirmed that it was not signed in Gurugram, and the children now are alleging that it is unambiguous and this is fabrication and also forgery. Now, the children claim that there are procedural irregularities in the will, and therefore they are adding, as far as when it comes to wanting sections of 338 and 340 of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita that has now been cited in their petition. Now, the children there, the legal heirs, are now wanting and are urging the court to seize the mobile of Priya. And as far as when it comes to the current wife is now concerned, who has also been fighting as far as the legal battle in the court is concerned. So, Madhav, this impact when it comes to the entire case is concerned, the inconsistencies is something that the children's side is now pressed for an interim injunction that prevents any alienation of property.
Absolutely. And in fact, it is ultimately a battle for property. As in fact, Abha Singh was mentioning, the legal strategy on both sides is very clear. The battle lines have been drawn, and now, of course, that battle is playing out in court. What we are looking at is really, of course, and reporting on is the strategy from each side to look at how they can further take this case in a direction where they get a judgment that would be in their favor. And rightly so, as far as the children are concerned, because they claim, at least this is the allegation that they are leveling, that they have been cut out of that will in an unfair manner, and clearly the fact that they have not got their due share is basically the thrust of their arguments that we've seen so far. How they will be able to prove this, and what really will they be able to provide in terms of the actual facts at hand, in terms of the actual data at hand, whether all of these claims that have been made will be corroborated ultimately through the investigation. All that remains to be seen. In fact, Priyank was telling us, the police officials would have to be involved in this at a senior level. And it's only after that that we will know what really has transpired in this entire case. Because the only way, once there is, an item such as a will, a document such as a will that has been produced, will be to establish in the court that that will was not prepared in a genuine way, that there was some inaccuracies in the actual preparation of the will, and that it is not legally firm. And therefore, that clearly is the strategy that is now being employed, whether we're talking about witnesses, whether we're talking about the location, and whether we're talking about the other data that can justify or back up such a claim. That's clearly where things are looking at this point of time. So it's a very interesting turn of how this entire case has gone forward, and will remain to be seen if Sanjay Kapoor's children, late Sanjay Kapoor's children, are successful or not as far as the strategy is concerned, and what really will be the counters coming in from the other side when we're talking about Priya Sajdev.
Yes, because the fight that is now being fought in the courts there, and we are talking about inheritance not of a few crores but 30,000 crores. That seems to be the family feud after, when it comes to the industrialist, what has been also said by his family was an untimely death. Now, as far as Karisma Kapoor's children are concerned, what they have been saying in the courts there, let's put that out for a better understanding. They have been alleging that the will of their late father was not registered in the first place. And however, the current wife, Priya Sajdev Kapoor rather, has been arguing that yes, the will was not registered. The stepmother there, however, allegation coming in from the children's side that it was the fabrication and the forging of their late father's will was done at the behest of Priya Kapur. Also saying that the circumstances around which, when it comes to the will and its very existence, is something that they find it to be suspicious. However, when it comes to Priya Kapur saying that plaintiffs got nearly 1900 crores from the trust himself. So saying that as far as when it comes to the division of the property and the inheritance is concerned, she never raised any issue on that front. Also saying that the kids are saying that initially there was no will. So as I said, the existence of the will later is now being said. That is very much into question. And now they are saying that we are being told that we are not the actual beneficiaries, and they have now decided to contest this in court itself. However, Priya Sachdev is now of the opinion that the assets were transferred 5 days before the suit actually was filed. And she says that I'm the last wife of Sanjay Kapoor, and where were you all this while? So all of these questions are now being raised in the court. So Abha Singh, when we talk about such kind of, cases that are fought in the courts there, pointing out to multiple loopholes, certain digital trails, all of that is now being questioned. How does it come now to a criminal case as far as addition of the charges of forgery and fabrication?
See, for that, investigation is required, because you just can't say that it is forged. You need evidence for that. So definitely Delhi police will have a tough job to do, because connecting all the points is not going to be easy. But yes, if the will is not registered, it does not make it less relevant. It holds its place in court, because if the will is duly attested, then the courts will go by it. So now it is, as I said, now the lawyers are going to, both their teams are going to collect evidences, help the police and prove that what the facts are. But if there was no will, then the property would have been divided equally among all the beneficiaries. That would have been the mother, wife, the 3 children of Sanjay Kapoor. But if a will is produced, then you will have to go as per the will. So definitely 30,000 crores is a big amount which everybody would like to get a share in, and the children will put in their best foot forward, because if you say it is forged and you get an injunction, at least till that time Priya Kapur will not be able to take away any of the property abroad or sell anything. So that would guard the interest of these minor children.
All right. Namit Saxena is also connected with us right now. Namit, as far as when it comes to basic requirements of a will that is needed to be signed and executed or something, what are the requirements that we are looking at? As far as one of the side, they have been putting out legally in this matter, saying that will is unambiguous forgery. There are suspicious WhatsApp chats that have been prevented. They're saying that Sanjay Kapoor was never physically present. All of these requirements just tell us exactly legally in this way, even if a will is not registered, how does it profound as far as when we speak in legal terms when the case is fought in courts?
See, a will is not required to be registered, as such. The law does not require that every will has to be registered. But every will have to have the element that, that it was intended for a particular purpose, and it was signed duly, and it was signed in the presence of the executors, etc. No will can be presumed to be true unless, because now, of course, now the law of probate has been changed. But unless that will is found to be true, because right now the allegation is that the signatures, etc. are bogus, or the signatures, etc. were taken under some sort of coercion or duress, or it is not something which is completely unambiguous in nature. So that will have to be proved now. They'll have to get a probate done. They'll have to get, you'll have to get that will proved in the court of law. And right now, what they're alleging is that there is forgery done. That is, I think is criminal in nature. They'll have to take the criminal action. Criminal machinery will have to be triggered in this. They'll have to see whether these signatures are original, whether these signatures match with the other signatures of, of the testator, etc. All this will have to be tested now. This will require some examination, and till that time, this examination done, probably forensic examination also, because the amount involved is very huge. Till that time it is done, every party will have to be injuncted from, alienating any property or creating any third party interest in those properties. That will have to be taken care of. Right now, as it stands today, because it is a highly contested case, as it stands today, the will has been doubted. So till that doubt is clear, I think everybody will have to hold their hands for the time being.
All right. Arunil, quick response from you, because the doubts that have been raised, this has been raised right from the day as far as when it comes to the death of late industrialist Sanjay Kapoor is concerned, and his own family, his mother and sister have been coming out raising certain questions.
Well, what is at stake is a huge amount. As Abha Singh was also pointing out, it is a property worth a staggering rupees 30,000 crore. And now this entire legal tussle gets even more uglier, even more murky. Basically, the children of Karisma Kapoor has clearly raised questions on the will that was presented by Priya Kapur in the Delhi High Court, citing that there were multiple loopholes in the digital trail of the will as well. It is a fraud bill, as well as they have sought criminal action against Priya Kapur as well. In this case, they've also mentioned the aspect that on March 21st last year, when the will was indeed signed, the children basically have claimed of Karisma Kapoor that basically he was not even present in Gurugram. He was present in Goa. That is what they have been saying. So obviously the cops will have to look into it.
So now with those charges of fabrication, and forgery be added, that amounts to criminal investigation on part of the authorities there. And what started off as a mere disagreement over property and inheritance, we're talking about 30,000 crores, and one of the high-profile families in the country now seems to have escalated into a major legal battle. Thanking all of our guests, Abha Singh and Namit Saxena, and our reporters there for joining us here on the broadcast. We